Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Health Sciences, SOHS, Diploma Programs. Diploma in Nursing Administration, DNA. BNS 01 to Management of Educational Institute, Hospital and Community. Block 1 Administration of Educational Institute. Unit 5 Curriculum Administration. 5.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to define curriculum and curriculum administration, list the importance of curriculum administration, examine how successfully curriculum is implemented, describe the importance of curriculum development, discuss the prerequisite criteria of curriculum development, explain the factors affecting the curriculum, and enumerate the steps in curriculum construction. 5.1 Introduction. A curriculum is the formulation of means or learning experiences organized around objectives to attain the aim of an educational program. The objectives of the program should be attainable goals and should be stated clearly, meaningful, and acceptable to the students and faculty. In essence, the curriculum is a systematic arrangement of total duration of the educational program and total instructional hours of theory and practical in selected clinical experience planned by a school college for a defined group of students to attain the aim of the educational program. In this unit you will learn about the definition of curriculum, curriculum administration, importance of curriculum, criteria of curriculum development, factors affecting curriculum, steps in curriculum development and evaluation of curriculum. 5.2 Definition of curriculum and curriculum administration. 5.2 Curriculum. Curriculum is defined as a series of planned educational activities which a student is to go through with the assistance of teachers or a composite of the entire range of experiences the learner undergoes under the guidance of the school. Lambertson, Eleanor, Education for Nursing Leadership, or a systematic arrangement of some total of learning experiences planned by a school for a defined group of students to attain the aims of a particular educational program. Florence Nightingale International Foundation, Basic Nursing Education. 52.2 Curriculum Administration. Curriculum administration is a complex process involving faculty and other subjects. Experts. They help in overall planning and construction of curriculum. The curriculum is based on the needs and interest of students concerned. Thus, it can be defined as an ongoing process of planning, organization, implementation and evaluation of curriculum by the faculty in all setting, classroom, laboratory, hospital and community, prescribed for a particular group of students for a specified time period. The planning and developing the sound curriculum includes the participation of whole faculty in deciding on the objectives, selecting and organizing learning experiences that will contribute to the objections and evaluating the effectiveness of the educational program. Having understood the meaning of curriculum and curriculum administration, let us now learn the importance of curriculum administration. 5.3 Importance of curriculum administration. The importance of curriculum administration is that it provides learning experiences related to the theoretical, practical and clinical component in conformity with the laid down educational objectives of the program, so that teaching learning content is selected accordingly, maintains the continuity and sequence of learning experiences, provides supervised clinical nursing practices in accordance with the objectives, correlates theory with the practice, provides opportunity to integrate theory with various learning experiences, provides environment which is closely related to life situation where the student will perform, establishes a sound system of continuous evaluation, examines how for the curriculum prescribed for a class is implemented. 5.4 Factors influencing curriculum development. There are many factors which influence the curriculum, its content, and its methods. Following factors need to considered. Factors relating to the learners, the needs, capacities, health, family, vacation, religion, and culture of the learner should be recognized and borne in mind when framing the curriculum so that it bring the desirable change in the learner. Political, social, economic and religion factors influence the curriculum development. The research findings and advancement in medicine and technology also affect the curriculum. The influence of modern methods of educational program and programmed instruction on the curriculum affects the traditional curriculum content and teaching. Learning methods. Factors related to the teachers and the subjects to be studied also affect the content of the curriculum as subject advised by curriculum committee and their specialists. Experts. Environment of the learner also affects the curriculum. Available resources in terms of man, money and material also affect process of curriculum development. Let us now proceed to discuss about the steps in curriculum development. 5.5 Steps in curriculum construction. 5.5.1 Planning of curriculum. The curriculum planning is cooperative, continuous, comprehensive, and concrete, which includes the following: investigation, the formulation of the aims and objectives of the school, selecting learning experiences that will contribute to the objectives, organizing the learning experiences to maximize cumulative effect, and evaluating the effectiveness of the educational program in attaining its objectives through appraising the educational progress of the students. Investigation. The curriculum committee investigates and analyzes the existing situation to determine the need, resources and purpose of establishing the nursing educational program, its duration, design and staffing requirement based on the philosophy and objectives of the school. The development of any curriculum is dependent on the availability of the resources, either actual or potential. Resources needed for curriculum developments include tangible and intangible. The tangible resources include those things such as teachers, classrooms, libraries, clinical materials in the form of hospital wards, OPDs, community organization, and others similar resources. The intangible resources are within the teachers and students such as intelligence, leadership, and motivation. The formulation of the aims and objectives of the school. The task of deciding the objectives is an important one, as these aims and purposes will guide the entire educational program. In determining the aims and objectives, some of the factors should be considered: the statement of school philosophy, the social and health need of society, the need of the students and the expertise of the subjects, the need of the community, availability of the resources and the changing nursing role in terms of the demands of profession. The most important factor in the formulation of the aims and objectives is that they should be clearly stated and clearly understood and accepted by all the staff. The aims are the overall goals of the total school program and may be formulated in a broad statement of 1 or 2 sentences. The objectives, which are derived from aims, are more specific and should be stated in a way that will guide learning experience. There are different ways of expressing them, but probably the most useful is in terms of the changes in behavior expected from the students. The criteria of writing objectives should be as following. They should reflect the philosophy of the educational program. What the students should be able to do at the end of a learning period that they could not do beforehand. Asterisk. Objectives must be learner-centered. Objectives should be clear and unambiguous, stated in behavioral terms, understood and accepted by all staff. The general level objectives should be broad, and the specific objectives should be punctual, narrow, relevant, and precise. Objectives should be achievable, feasible, observable, logical, and measurable. Approval of written institutional objectives and curricular philosophy are obtained from higher authorities. The objectives are required to be defined in order to develop effective methods for their attainment. 5.5.2 Selection of learning experiences. To achieve CLI stated objections, learning experiences have to be selected. ing experiences are the mean of reaching aims and objectives of the educational program. The learning experiences are planned and guided by faculty covering theory and practical and its content. In selection of learning experiences, following principles should be kept in mind. THC faculty should have systematic approach to the selection of learning experiences, through which the students are provided with the opportunities to meet the objectives. The learning experiences are planned in terms of objectives sought. Select appropriate learning experiences for developing problem-solving skills, attitude, and interest, and give the student opportunity to explain, to interpret, and to illustrate with related ideas. Learning experiences should be varied and flexible, enough in keeping with the student's ability to undergo the desired changes of behavior and is not beyond her particular stage of development. A learning experience should involve student actively, which results in a desirable change of behavior, knowledge, skills and attitude, and should give students opportunity to practice the kind of behavior implied in the objectives. Learning experiences are arranged for theoretical, practical, and clinical component in such manner that it provides continuity, sequences, and integration of learning. Learning experiences are planned and evaluated cooperatively by the teacher and the students. The selection of audiovisual material and teaching methods should depend on the objectives stated. 5.5.3 Organization of learning experiences. After the learning experiences, as also termed as subject matter, i.e., subject matter learning experiences, have been selected carefully in relation to the desired objectives, they must be organized in the curriculum. Grouping of subject matter context. The organization of subject matter, content, and the learning experiences should be in such a way so as to maximize the total effect of the various learning experiences into an effective, efficient, and practical curriculum. The syllabus prescribed by the INC consisted of a list of subjects. The content, subject matter, in the curriculum can be organized as under applied basic sciences, physics and chemistry, anatomy and physiology and microbiology, behavioral sciences, psychology and sociology, principles and practice of nursing, fundamentals of nursing, advanced nursing, communication and administration, medical surgical nursing and its specialties, psychiatric nursing and mental health, pediatrics nursing, community nursing, nutrition, hygiene, personnel and environment, health education and communication skills and community nursing, midwifery, placement of learning experience, When the broad plan for the organization of learning experiences has been decided upon, the next step once their placement in then total curriculum. They have to be distributed through out the course in such a manner that the criteria of continuity, sequence, integration and correlation of learning experiences are applied. Continuity. The elements of the curriculum should be related to one another vertically and horizontally, so that systematic body of ideas and activities will be expanded continuously into larger and more meaningful pattern. The vertical organization of learning experiences refers to the relationship existing between different levels of the same subject or skills. It is recurring emphasis in the learner's experiences upon particular elements. This relationship is known as continuity. Related to continuity but going beyond it is the relationship known as sequence. Sequence. It entails the placement of content so that there is gradual progression from the simple to the complex and from normal to abnormal equal, the teaching of the basic principles of psychology early in the curriculum will help the student in her first year to understand the normal reaction of any patient admitted to hospital and the teaching of more complex subject matter in relation to psychiatric nursing later on will be based on her previous learning of normal human behavior and will in turn prepare her to understand the abnormal behavior of the mentally ill. Sequence of experiences varies widely and are arranged according to one of the following methods: chronological order, logical order, and simple to complex. In this way, continuity and sequence are maintained within the subject. This approach to the sequential arrangement of learning material lends itself as well to the learning experiences in the clinical situation. Integration requires the subjects and experiences which relate or contribute to the learning of one another /LDB so placed horizontally in the curriculum that it is possible for the students to put together all she learns into a unified, meaningful whole. The integration of learning CX pieces does not take place automatically, it must be planned. For example, food chemistry, the function of the digestive system, principle of nutrition, and pharmacology related to digestive system complement one another and should be taught the same time and related in content. Correlation chart. The preparation of correlation chart gives a portrayal of the extent of correlation achieved in the total curriculum in relation to the different courses of study, various subjects, and clinical experiences offered in the program. The chart will depict what will be taught each week, month, or of each year, along with the information to the teachers as to what is being taught in other classes to enable them to adapt their teaching accordingly. Complete correlation is not always possible, but if every effort is made to achieve it while planning the curriculum, the teaching staff will be in a position to know what the students have or have not been taught in other classes and can teach accordingly. Decision on the weightage, time allotment. Decision on the weightage and time to be allotted for theory, practical, clinical experiences to be considered. Allocation of instructional time. Allocation of time for supervised clinical and community experiences. Allocation of time for self-activities and co-curricular activities. The general plan. The general plan shows at a glance the placement of subject matter and clinical experiences. Certain end blocks of clinical experiences will be a statutory requirement. It may be found easier to arrange first in an educationally sound sequence and then fill in such other clinical experience as required to meet the objective of the school. The subject matter of teaching should be necessary in connection with each of the clinical experience. It can then be charted with each experience. The number of hours to be allotted to planned instruction and clinical experiences is illustrated in the general plan. The general plan indicates the following: total duration of course, total hours available, core content, course outline, theoretical course of study, guidelines for practical, master rotation plan, instructional methods, scheme of examination. A sample of the structure of a general plan is placed at the end of the lesson as Appendix A. The main features of a general plan. It shows the relationship between classroom teaching and clinical experiences. Each area IA clearly marked or coded. For example, medical nursing can be depicted with red color block and surgical nursing with blue colored block respectively, and key is indicated at the foot end. The period of clinical experience vary in length each year, but the total duration of such experiences is the same for all the students. The students of one class are divided into groups and rotated through. The same theory related to clinical experiences can be selected and repeated for each group when they are posted in the respective field. 5.6 Organization of clinical experiences. Organization of clinical experiences is through rotation plan. The rotation plan is a master rotation plan to provide the clinical learning experience of various group of nursing of a particular school, college of nursing, indicating specific clinical areas assigned to which students will be assigned and its duration. 5.6.1 Principles of making rotation plan. It should be planned systematically as an essential part of the total curriculum. The design of clinical rotation should be planned well in advance to ensure sound planning from the point of view of both the educational program and the staffing schedule of the hospital. When the clinical rotation for one class is being planned, the planner must know the clinical rotation already in effect for other classes in the college. Clinical rotation plan should take into account the seasonal incidences of certain disease conditions in the hospital. Each year of clinical rotation block should be a self-contained block. All practice should have a base in theory before providing the clinical experience to the student. Students of similar abilities should be grouped together for better performance than heterogeneous group. In planning rotation to the outpatient department, the planner should consider both the advantages and disadvantages of the block rotation to the department. Students should be assigned for clinical experience in a particular field at more than once during the entire period of educational program, and it depends upon the richness and complexity of the experience available in the hospital. The frequency with which students should move from one clinical area to the another clinical area depends upon the experience available, the hours required for the clinical experience, and the requirement of the institution. Each student must rotate through each block. Student cannot miss any block as the blocks have been planned to provide a wholesome experience required in meeting the objectives of the curriculum. Students should enter and leave the block at the time scheduled so that rotation plan can operate efficiently and the teaching within the block carried out. Each block of experience can be FBR subdivided so that the students can be rotated through a series of related experiences within the block. A block may consist of 2 or 3 unrelated experiences which have been filled in order to make requisite length of the block to facilitate rotation by depicting the internal rotation. In the rotation plan, clinical assignments should be arranged during the period. Students be posted for a definite block of experience. While selection of the clinical field for the students, the teacher should consult the ward sisters or the hospital staff. The academic year may be divided into 52 weeks and 13 blocks of 28 days constituting orientation program, midterm break, preparatory holidays, pre-final and final examination, the month of vacation and elective phase. It should depict the year of training, the number of students in each group. Various clinical areas projected in the rotation plan should use the various color code. Index, key, to the color code for each clinical area should be displayed on the rotation chart. 5.6.2 Criteria for preparation of rotation plan. Equal experience, all students should be given equal experience. Same duration, each block of clinical experience being used in the rotation should be of the same duration, number of weeks. Sequence entails the placement of the clinical experience so that there is a progression from simple to complex in order to achieve the objective of the curriculum. No overlapping, while detailing the student's care should be taken not to put one student in two areas. Continuity of the clinical experience of the same block is mandatory. 5.6.3 Advantages. It gives a broad picture of the total program at a glance as well as the overall clinical experience of the student. It shows relationship between the classroom teaching and clinical experience. A numerical or a code guide indicates each area of the clinical experience. It is well organized and permits greater flexibility. Students can have uninterrupted period of clinical experience. It is less confusing as clear-cut clinical hours and duration are projected. It is cost-effective in terms of minutes is without wasting time the students can start their clinical experience. It provides equal experience to all the students. Well-organized clinical experience complements and supports classroom teaching. It provides opportunity to develop team spirit and cooperation among the team. 5.6.4 Disadvantages. It is time-consuming activity as preparation of the rotation plan requires much and careful planning on the part of the teacher. It is difficult to provide the suitable experience at the time of emergency. 5.6.5 Teaching System. One of the factors which influence the organization of the curriculum is the teaching system. There are three methods commonly used in India, each of which has its own particular advantages. The teaching block, the study day system, and daily classes. Teaching blocks. In a teaching block, students are withdrawn from the clinical area for periods usually of 1 to 4 weeks. During this time, they follow a planned program of instruction in the school and attend the clinical area only when the method of teaching being used requires them to be there. Such blocks may be strategically placed at intervals throughout the curriculum. Partial block system. This is a modification of the block system, which can be used instead of the full block throughout the course or can replace the full block at particular times. In this system, the students may be in the teaching block each morning for 2 to 3 weeks and in the clinical area each afternoon. When the partial block system is used, more daily lectures will be required to cover the course. Study day system. The study day is literally a complete day spent by the student each week studying in the school instead of having one class each day. A different day of the week is assigned to each group of students except for those who are affiliated outside, who will have any required instruction at the institutions to which they are affiliated, or to a study day every 2 weeks, depending on the number of students and the requirements of the curriculum. The advantages of this system are similar to those of the block system in that the students are free from ward responsibilities for a full day, planning of ward work is simplified, and correlated teaching can be organized more easily. In any school, the system can be modified to a study day, half day, daily classes. If neither of the above two systems is used, the third possibility is holding single classes, daily or several times per week. During the first and second years, frequent scheduling of classes will be required to cover the curriculum, and problems sometimes arise when a number of students have to be relieved on time from different wards. However, when the schedules are planned with a view to service needs and normal ward routine, it is possible to arrange times which are reasonably convenient to the ward, the school, and the student. Daily classes will still be necessary now and then during the course, even when the other two systems are operating, but will not be needed so frequently. Now we shall discuss about the evaluation of the curriculum. 5.6.6 Evaluation of the curriculum. Evaluation is the fourth step in the development of the curriculum. The selection, organization, and guidance of students' learning experiences should be submitted to continuous appraisal by the faculty. The evaluation is the process of finding out whether what was expected, desired, or aimed at has been achieved. This is not only confined to the actual curriculum committee but extends to all the staff who, throughout the year, are evaluating the subject matter, activities, and resources related to their specific subjects, so that when the committee does meet for this purpose, they are in a position to make a positive and constructive contribution to the evaluation of the total curriculum. The curriculum evaluation should measure the capabilities of the students during and upon completion of the program and later as practitioners of nursing to assess the effectiveness of the curriculum and to assess the teaching learning process. There should be organized plan for students' evaluation, which is a systematic, continuous process. The students' evaluation should be carried out to measure the progress of the students throughout the program and on completion of the program to determine the extent to which the stated educational objectives have been achieved. Appropriate evaluative devices to be used to assess the particular aspects of behavior in relation to the specific content. An evaluation instrument should measure the degree to which the student has achieved the objective. An evaluation instrument should have objectivity, reliability, and validity. Evaluation of results is used as the basis for curriculum revision and improvement. Evaluation by Curriculum Committee. The Curriculum Committee meets regularly throughout the year, but should meet annually or, at the very least, biennially for the particular purpose of evaluating the curriculum as a whole. It is not expected nor even desirable that frequent major changes should be made, as this only creates confusion and does not give sufficient time for any modifications suggested to be properly tested. However, a periodic review such as this gives an opportunity for making changes within the existing structure so as to make the curriculum more effective and point the way to desirable major changes at a future date. When the committee meets, each part of the curriculum and the curriculum as a whole should be reviewed in relation to the purposes and objectives of the school program. All persons who are not on the committee but who are actively involved with the students' learning, such as external lecturers, nursing service staff, and representatives of the student body, should be invited to give comments. A periodic review of the performance of former students after appointment also makes a useful contribution to the evaluation of the curriculum. When the school decides on a major revision of the curriculum, more time will be required. A period in the school is selected when teaching staff will be free to devote a reasonable amount of time to starting to plan and build up a revised curriculum, after which staff members, individually or in groups, can concentrate on the development of specific sections. Sometimes it is advisable to phase the implementation of a new curriculum over a number of years so as to avoid confusion and give time for the staff to gain any additional competence required and for the necessary resources to become available. 5. 7. Summary. Curriculum is defined as a series of planned educational activities which a student is to go through with the assistance of teachers. Curriculum administration is a complex process involving faculty and other subject experts. They help in overall planning and construction of curriculum. Thus, it can be defined as an ongoing process of planning, organization, implementation, and evaluation of curriculum by the faculty in all setting, classroom, laboratory, hospital, and community, prescribed for a particular group of students for a specified time period. Planning and developing the sound curriculum includes the participation of whole faculty in deciding on the objectives, selecting and organizing learning experiences that will contribute to the objectives and evaluating the effectiveness of the educational program. The task involved in planning and constructing an educational program requires the following: deciding on the objectives, selecting learning experiences that will contribute to the objectives, organizing learning experiences to maximize their cumulative effect, and evaluating the effectiveness of the educational program in attaining its objective through appraising the educational progress of the students. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we